we've got a really interesting case study today. We've got one of our friends and fellow Facebook marketers. He owns a couple different businesses, and he's going to show us kind of the back end of what he's working on. So it's a good one. Awesome. Thanks, Lori. Good to know you can hear us. Awesome. So I'll explain who we are. Lori, have you been on with us in the past, or is this your first time? First time. Awesome. So my name is Brad Forbush. I'm the president of Strategic Social Partners, and we have Mitch Adams. He is actually the guy who does most of our, I work a lot on the funnels, so after the click, we'll work a lot on that. Mitch does a lot of before the click stuff like ads. We both do both, but we have clients all over the place in all different verticals. And so, and then we have Kendall, who, like I said, he owns a couple different businesses. I'll let him introduce himself and let you know who he is and what he's up to. But Lori, before we do that, I'd like to know what business you're in. Do you work for a company? Do you have your own small business? Are you a, home-based business? We kind of talk to all sorts of people through these, and I'd like to get an idea of what your business is, and then once we do that, then we'll get Kendall started off. So it's like one of those questions: brick and mortar and network marketing. Awesome, cool. So you're an entrepreneur like us. So you have a couple of different irons in the fire. Always have a couple projects I'm working on. I know that. So that's fantastic. Okay, Kendall, why don't you just tell us who you are and what you're working on, and we will get this case study is going to be tremendously valuable. Because we get into how to best target the right audience and how to really decrease your cost of ads and all that kind of stuff. So Kendall, go ahead.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Kendall, and I run this business, One Small Child, with my wife. And we, as you can see, manufacture christening gowns and christening outfits and sell them on the internet. So this is kind of a idea of the different products that we sell on our website. So this business has been running for over 30 years. My mom started it when I was 4 years old, and my wife and I met here, and I've worked in the business for about 15 to 20 years, I guess. And about 3 years ago, my wife and I bought out my mom and my sister to run it on our own. So we've been looking more into Facebook strategies over the last few months. And in January, we started working with Ryan and Mitch and Brad, and ran several different test ads at that point, but nothing really worked well from a cold traffic perspective. And it was about a month ago, we were on a coaching call, and I think it was Mitch that mentioned this, that warm traffic always converts at a higher rate. And I'm not sure why, but that hit me at that point, and I realized that we had all this traffic that's coming to our site from search engines and paid traffic through Google that we would have hit our site, and that could be the last time they ever saw us. So I decided to set up a retargeting campaign in Facebook at that time.
Yes. So let me pause you just real quick to clarify. So there's this thing that really Digital Marketer has coined. Molly over there, she's coined this idea of traffic temperature. And the idea is that cold traffic are people who they have never heard of, never seen One Small Child ever in their life, and they're just they're coming to it cold. They don't know who you are or what you do.
Yeah.
So people hit this site, and it's a new experience. You have to figure out, okay, who is this? What's their offer? Does it pertain to me? And so cold traffic always is going to convert much lower than warm traffic. Warm traffic is kind of that next step up. This person has come to the site or maybe seen a little bit. They don't even have to come to the site. Maybe they saw a video on Facebook, and so they get familiar with your brand and what you're about. And then from there, their traffic temperature kind of warms up. And then, of course, you want to market to each of those traffic temperatures differently. And so what most people do is they spend all this time and effort and energy and money driving people to a site, and then that's where it stops. And so you have a bunch of cold traffic hitting your site, and you're scraping a little bit off the top, and then from there it stops. So Kendall, tell us what you did, and teach us a little bit about how you approach this with retargeting.
Okay. So first, I had to create an audience of people that had visited my site. So I did some research into the Facebook pixel. This is a code that you can install on your website that as people visit different pages, they are basically tracked and put into an audience and can be categorized based on pages they've visited and different parts of your site they've been on. So I set up this pixel to track people that had been to my site, any page at all, but had not made a purchase. So that meant they had not landed on my thank you page that comes at the end of a purchase. So these are all people that have come, seen, and left. So I set up the pixel, and it started to create an audience. And this is the ad sets that I set up based on that pixel. I set up a retarget for all visitors that had not purchased. I set up an audience of people that had landed on the checkout page and started that process but had not purchased that after that. And then I've played a little bit with an audience of people that have visited specific pages on the site other than like the checkout, and I can send them retargeting ads based on the page that they had visited. So this is the main campaign that came out of that, the retarget to all visitors. And these are kind of the statistics that have come about with that.
Yeah. So up to this point, all you did was you placed the pixel on your site,
Yep.
which is a piece of code that Facebook gives you, and we have some of you may know what the pixel is. Others are maybe this is foreign to you, but Facebook gives you a pixel that you put it on your site, and then as traffic comes to your site, Facebook grabs that person and puts them into an audience for you. So they say, okay, this is someone that you may want to get back in front of. And so in the retargeting context, what Kendall did here is he set up an ad to say, hey, I want everybody who came to my website but didn't purchase, I want them to see an ad. And so that's what this ad is here that he's showing you. So Kendall, give us the results. So if you go back, you don't need to go back, but I'll just explain. You set up a budget for $15 a day to put an ad in front of these people who are already semi-warmed up, right? They've already come to the website. So tell us your results.
This number right here, I've set up conversion tracking based on that pixel, based on people that finally did reach that thank you page after they've entered this audience. And I've had 41 sales from this campaign, from people that have visited that audience. My average sale price or average cart value is about $100. So that represents $4,100.
Okay, so let's
And
jump right over to your ad spend so we
yeah,
get an idea of return on investment.
so I've
Your
spent
ROAS, as they call it in the industry,
to make
return on ad spend.
4,100.
Yeah, so he spent $308 so far to make 4,100.
Yep.
That's a winning campaign every day in my book.
Yep.
So, well done, Kendall. So let's
Thank you.
get into the specifics also of what you're seeing here. So you've got 20,000 impressions. So you were able to get 20,000 times this ad showed up in the news feed for the potential for someone to see it.
Hmm.
From there, you got 589 total link clicks for a 52 cents per click, you're getting people to your website.
Hmm.
Now, so this is another benefit of targeting warmed up traffic. Typically, your clicks are going to be a lot less expensive. Targeting, getting traffic, a cold audience to your website is usually much more expensive. So
Yeah, I paid
not
Google
only,
about $1 a click for click
yeah,
traffic.
yep, yeah, dollar a click or more, depending on the the net audience and all those kind of things, the niche and stuff like that. But um, the cool thing about this is so not only are you getting lower cost per clicks, but they also have a higher conversion rate. So it's a
Yep.
win-win in that case. Um, so Kendall, tell us about kind of what your next step is and some of the questions that we had talked about with Kendall before the call. He has a couple of other ideas, and we're going to go through that here right now. Where you go from here?
Okay. Well, my reach obviously is 4,100 people, and I've only sold 41 of those 4,100 people. So I want to set up a series of campaigns to try and increase that conversion on that reach. And one idea that I have that I've discussed is so my audience age is like 30 days. So I'm tracking an audience for 30 days. And what I want to do is if they have not purchased within 7 days of entering that audience, I want them to be segmented into a different audience where I can up the ante basically and reach out to them with a coupon code in the ad. And if they haven't purchased after that 14-day period, then they will receive a higher value coupon. Basically just trying to salvage that customer before they drop off the end of the life cycle or the purchasing
Yep.
cycle of the market.
Yep. So that's a very smart way to think about it, Kendall. I love it because what you're doing is initially you're just getting back in front of them. You're just saying, "Hey, this is who we are. Come back," sort of a thing. A nice picture of a baby in one of your gowns or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
then on the, you know, that's the initial push, right? They
Yeah.
in the last 7 days they came to the site. Well, I want to get in front of those people. But what about those that didn't take an action or didn't click on the ad or didn't do anything? They may need, based on their action, they may need a little bit more incentive to come back and purchase. So further out, maybe past 7 or 14 days, you want to get in front of those people with maybe an offer, like 20, a discount or something like that,
Yeah.
to really up the ante for them to come back. So how do we do that? Maybe that's the next question, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Mitch, let's have Mitch take over real quick. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to type in the chat here. I'll give Mitch, I'm gonna make you the presenter here.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah, any questions, Jer and Lori and Fran? We are happy to have you on. Hope this is extremely valuable. A return on ad spend like that, I think you can learn quite a bit from that. So, Kate, tell us how we do that. How do we retarget people based on the time, how long ago they were on the site?
Okay, so So what we're going to do, there's multiple ways to do this. This is the simplest way I can think of. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the Audiences tab. So how you get to that is up in this top left corner. It'll say something with those three little lines, and you come and you go to this Audiences tab. So that's where we are now. And so we're going to create a couple custom audiences. The first custom audience we're going to create, we're always going to do it based on website traffic. And we're just going to do anyone who visits your website. Well, so Kendall, you want to do this actually, people who visit specific web pages. Actually, people visiting specific web pages but not others. So like Kendall was already talking about, he's targeting people that have visited any one of his pages. So in this client's case, then we're going to just, it's Bish's RV, so we're just going to do anything that contains Bish's RV, but we're going to exclude people from this audience that have visited the thank you page. And so you're going to pull the exact URL from the theme, and so you're going to do one in the last 7 days. So we're going to call this a 7-day audience. All right. So that's the first audience you're going to create. And that's one of the audiences you're going to use. Now, you're going to notice that mine is going to show up as audience too small. One of the reasons for that is that I'm not creating accurate audiences right now because I'm not pulling the URL from their website. And again, it also just takes some time. You'll create these and then you have to wait 30 minutes to an hour. So then you're going to create another audience. Same thing, people visiting specific web pages but not others. Same thing again. Type in those same URLs. Except this time you're going to do 14 days. Call it 14-day audience. Okay. Now we have those two audiences, and then Kendall, you wanted a 30-day audience, so that's what you're already doing. So you go to website, same thing, and create it in the last 30 days. And we'll call this a 30-day audience. Okay, awesome. Now you go to create your ad. So we're going to go back over to Ads Manager. And we are going to go create a campaign. So like Kendall talked about, he's doing a conversions campaign. And you have to pick a specific conversion from your website. And we're going to do a couple different ad sets. So we're going to do a 7-day audience here. Select the conversion event. These are going to be filled in if you've already created conversions. If you haven't created conversions before, then you can say, there's a lot of different ways to do it again, but you can define a new custom conversion. So you can say, I want people that hit the thank you page on my website. But for now, I'm just going to select that. And then here is the significant part. So you're going to go to your custom audiences, and we're going to go to our 7-day audience for our first ad set. So that's your custom audience that you're going to run there. You come down, you do the other settings, which we're not going to dive into today, but you set up the other settings, and then hit continue, set up the rest of your ad. And this is where you're going to create those different ads based on which level of discount you want to give them. Then you go through, create the ad, and then hit place order. And then that one's done, that one's set up, you're good to go. And then you're going to go back. I'm not going to place the order right now because I'd have to fill that out before I can do it. So you go back to your ad sets, and you can hit duplicate ad. No, not duplicate ad set. You get back to your ad sets, you'd hit create new ad set, and that's going to again take you to here. So we're back to creating a new ad set. So now we're going to do 14-day audience. You're going to leave the conversion the same, but this time, so we want to change this to exclude the 7-day audience, but include the 14-day audience. So what that's going to do, and does that make sense, Kendall? Is it's going to go back and pull the 14-day audience, but it's going to exclude the most recent 7-day audience.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And so then you go through the same process, finish creating this ad, do the same thing, create that new ad that has, let's say now you're running a 15% discount for that second week for those people, if they still haven't bought. And then again, you're going to cut. Oh, go ahead.
Well, one thing you may want to do as well is make an audience of people who have purchased, maybe through that first 7-day campaign. And that way you're just targeting the people after 7 who didn't buy, if that makes sense.
Well, so in those initial audiences, then we created the 7-day audience. It was already people who hadn't visited the thank you page. So as soon as they hit that thank you page, they're going to be taken off that audience.
Take them off that audience.
Yeah. And then again, for the 14 to 30-day audience, you're going to come back to here on create a new ad set, same conversion. You're going to change the name of it to here, 30-day audience. The name of it's not significant, just so everybody knows. Now we're just going to take this 7-day audience off. Now we're going to exclude this audience because that also, 14-day audience includes a 7-day audience. So now we're going to include here a 30-day audience, excluding the 14-day audience. And then go through and create that new ad with a new offer. And then because you're doing this at the ad set level, the nice thing is that you can make a different budget. You set the budget based on the ad set level. So you can change the budget for each of these. Maybe you want a lesser budget on that 14 to 30-day audience because they're less valuable customers. So yeah, does that make sense?
Perfect.
Totally. Yep.
No problem.
Okay.
Yep. That's good stuff right there. And one thing when you start filling this stuff out, anytime you're using a custom well, not anytime, but a lot of times, in a retargeting context, scroll up a little bit. You're gonna want to feel like you need to get more tricky with this, as far as age and gender and languages and detailed targeting and stuff, but you've already done that because you're basing it off of people who've already come to the site. So you don't want to exclude. The more you put in there, you'll kick out people of those audiences that have already come to your site. So, and to some degree, they've self-selected that targeting for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kendall.
One thing I did notice was that I ran this for about 3 weeks, and I went in and looked at what was it? I looked at the age breakdown, and I found that people between the ages of 45 and 60 did not convert. So I did exclude those people from that audience, and basically I think those are the ages that are not parents and not grandparents.
Yeah. So it also depends on what you've done up to that point, because a lot of times, like if you're only getting traffic through paid advertising, then most of the time, if your campaigns are optimized, then most of the time that targeting has already been taken care of. But if you have organic traffic and all sorts of different things going on, then absolutely, look at the data and just look at the numbers and see if a certain group of people, whether it's males, females, a certain age demographic or whatever, aren't converting, then yeah, kick them out. So
Yeah.
you don't want to spend money on people who don't convert.
But I think that is only something that you can find through research. Like you said,
Right.
Brad, on your first round, when you're retargeting your website traffic like this, you don't want to kick anybody out. But after
Right.
you do find, like Kendall found after 3 weeks, and $15 a day for 3 weeks, that's a decent amount of money. He figured out with real data that those people weren't converting. So that is a good time to kick people out of them once you do figure that out.
Yep. Okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I've absolutely loved this walkthrough. It's a really great case study of what's working and how you can set it up in your business. You may have hopefully sparked a couple of ideas for you. We like to keep these things to about 30 minutes. We know your time's important, but if there's any questions, we always like to finish off with that. I changed the chat function so it's now public. And so if anyone has any questions, feel free to chime in. And if not, we are so thankful you've dropped by. We do these calls every Friday. We'll keep you posted, and we'll jump on again next Friday. So if there's no questions, thanks a lot, guys, for dropping in.